Hello, everyone. Josh here. Before going on to this week's episode of The Dumpster Fire, those of you who have followed the show since our debut on Spotify may have noticed that there has not been a new episode uploaded in several weeks. Over the last several weeks, multiple episodes of the show have been recorded. These episodes were recorded throughout a very turbulent time in my personal life, which led to the quality of the content of the episodes being negatively affected and simply not up to par with the content you have come to know and expect from us. As a result of this, these episodes will not be released at this time. Today's upload rather shows our trio of hooligans back in their proper form and doing what they do best: entertain you. Without further ado, here is this week's episode of The Dumpster Fire. Enjoy.
The following program is a collection of hooligans engaging in lively conversations about anything and everything that happens to populate in their heads. It is meant to be comedic entertainment. The opinions expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of the hosts, their peers, AIM Student Radio, or the Communication Media Department. P.S. Don't sue us and don't believe anything we say. Good morning and welcome to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh here on this penultimate episode of the Dumpster Fire 4.1. We are coming to the end. Next week is the end of the spring semester, but in then 2 weeks, some of us will be back. We are going to do a summer edition of the Dumpster Fires, so it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be a good time. And if people are wondering, why does he sound so out of it right now? I'm kind of injured. So this morning I was on the treadmill for a while. That was fine. And then I get on the elliptical at the gym, and it might have been my fault because I was slightly distracted. Might have been. Also, Dax and Kion
Josh,
are here. They made it on time.
I can't see the microphone.
Keon, your eyeballs are literally directly staring at the microphone.
Oh, I found it. Help, I don't think I took my medication.
Keon's having a moment right now, folks.
Keon didn't take his diet meth, and so now today is going to be a disaster.
Oh, geez.
It's like
I got one leg.
meds.
Keon's having a moment. Dax is furiously scrolling through their phone. Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
I have been up for more hours than I should have been.
I've been up since 3:30.
Josh, that's your choice. Tell your story about your busted ankle.
Okay.
Mr. Busting your own ankle, man.
Okay, so, yes, I was watching ESPN, and there's an ad for the Formula One race this weekend, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I look down and I realize, I finished my workout. Okay, as I step off the elliptical, my ankle goes pop. And at first, I don't really think anything of it. I'm like, oh, it popped. Okay, maybe it just needed a stretch. I don't know. And I get home, I get showered up, I rest for a little bit, and then I come here. And literally, as I'm getting out of my car and I start walking into the campus commons, I'm like, my ankle is actually really starting to hurt now. So, yeah, I'm just, kind of hobbling. It's still moving, so I don't think anything's broken.
Yeah, you'd know if it was broken, buddy.
Yeah, probably.
You'd know.
I would.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to walk on it.
You would know if it was sprained, really.
Yeah.
Like,
you'd know if it was dislocated. You probably just strained something.
I've only...
Knowing my luck, yeah.
I sprained my ankle a couple of times. I never broke it, though. But I was really good at constantly spraining it. So.
No, that was me when I was in Scouts. Like, I would be the one guy that would manage to, on the trail, find the one, divot in the ground that was just the perfect, size for my boot to go in. And then I would go step, and then I would go pop. And, yeah. So
I didn't end up getting injured that much for Scouts, mostly because we didn't do anything fun.
Yeah.
But I went to a camp once, and it was when I was younger and not very intelligent. And so I decided, oh boy, that's a pretty flower. I should grab that pretty flower. Except it was a thistle, so that didn't go well.
That is what I call an oops.
Yeah, that didn't go well for me.
And I don't know if the mics caught that most recent pop. That was my knee. Yeah, wow. This shows that we're coming to the end of the semester. We're all just injured,
Yeah,
sort of,
I'm mentally injured.
I'm chilling. I don't know about you guys.
for now.
That is a
What?
threat.
Do not threaten me.
Oh no, not like that. No, I'm
Oh.
just saying, like we all have the cycle of luck. It's hit 2 of us, and there's 3 of us.
You know, I think I'm just down most of the time. You know,
Yeah.
like what was that? I forgot how the saying goes, but it's like, you know, it's something like I've not been in it for a while because like you keep saying that you're out of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been in it for a while, guys, but it's okay.
It's okay. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get a quick check here of your weather on this lovely Tuesday. Wow, this computer's taking a second. Currently in Fort Lupton, we are looking at 61 degrees with a high of 71, a low of 43. Sunny skies, wind gusts of up to 7 miles per hour. Currently in Loveland, we are looking at 60 degrees with a high of 69, with a low of 43. Sunny skies, wind gusts of up to 15 miles per hour. Ooh, kite flying weather out there. Currently in Windsor, we are looking at 60 degrees with a high of 69. Sunny skies, or a low of 42. Sunny skies, wind gusts of up to 3 miles per hour. And currently on the home campus of Greeley, once this thing loads up, it is 64 degrees with a high of 69, a low of 43. Sunny skies and wind gusts of up to 5 miles per hour. So yeah, it's gonna be a very nice day.
It's not raining yet.
Don't say that.
I don't think it will today, but
I don't think it's supposed to rain today.
I'm
Yeah,
honestly
no.
so here for like the spring and summer rainstorms.
Mm-mm.
I'm a big fan of the thunderstorms.
I don't mind the thunderstorms once they're at night and I'm not doing anything. Then it can do what it wants.
I mean, that's fair, but like consider that you're being at work and it starts downpouring, and so then no one shows up, and so you can just chill for the rest of the day. It's great.
Yeah,
So-
but I work taking phone calls,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it doesn't make a difference.
I forgot.
If anything,
Old
more
people
people
get
call
weird.
in.
Old
Yeah.
people get weird.
when there's the thunder and the rain,
When any weather happens, old people get weird.
Yeah.
they think it's like Armageddon or something.
No, they just the barometric pressure it messes
Oh,
with their
yeah.
heads.
I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
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 Okay, we should let them get back to some music and
Yep.
decide what we're going to talk about.
We shall let them go ahead and get back to the music. Up next, and actually this ties in because she just announced a tour last night. Up next, we got All the Good Girls Go to Hell by Billie Eilish, and she's going to be performing 2 nights at Ball Arena, November 18th through the 19th. But who's counting? I don't know.
It's Josh.
Yeah. But anyways, we will let it get back to the music here on AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here with Dax and with Kion.
Hello.
I am slightly more alive now.
Kion is slightly more alive.
Slightly.
Significantly more alive.
Yes,
I don't
I'd
know what
say
you're
much
talking
more
about.
alive.
Hey, his eyes aren't different sizes anymore. So Kion does this really fun thing where his pupils will be significantly different sizes. Like one will be pinpoint and the other will be like incredibly dilated.
That's what I meant earlier. If I couldn't see the microphone, my eyes weren't focusing. So
Yeah, he does that really fun thing all the
Yeah.
time though.
yeah. So, but I'm more alive now. So hello.
We went and talked to the mental health desks over there. They're
Yes,
having a whole
They're
program
having a
going on.
mental
mental
health research fair over on the Greeley campus in the lobby here of the Student Commons from 10 until 1. They have multiple tables out there just providing, just letting you know some of the resources that we actually have here on campus, many of which are either free or low cost, like actually low cost.
Yeah.
They actually do give you the results of an actual survey that was sent out I want to say it was earlier this. Yeah,
Fall
it was
of 2023. It
Yeah,
says
yeah.
it on the front of the paper, bozo.
Thank you. But and that actually has the results. It was quite a long survey, but it does have some kind of eye-opening results. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of resources. Go out there, check out all the people at the tables.
One of the tables that I think is interesting is they specifically ask like what students think they need at
Yes.
campus, which is good because it's directly
Yeah, it's
talking to
directly
people.
asking you. It's like, what do you
Right.
think you need here on campus?
And I really appreciate that they're out here making sure that we're trying to get what we need and want.
yes,
I really couldn't think of anything to tell them, so we just mentioned that we would mention it on air for them, so to get more people to go over.
yes. So please,
but
if you have
If for
time,
nothing
go
else,
over
they
there.
have a drawing going on. So if you go to each of the tables, they
Yeah.
have, and
You-
you get all 3 of the stamps. You put your name into a basket and your information, and then they're gonna draw somebody at the end,
Mhm.
and you get a prize. I'm not sure what the prize is. It's a secret surprise
Yeah,
prize.
they never
So-
Yeah, they
said
never
what the
told us
prize
what
They
it
never
was.
told us what the prize was, but they've also got like these cool little screwdriver keychains and all kinds
Yep.
of stuff, and the information from that, which is very, very interesting to
Yeah.
just look at.
Mhm.
If nothing else,
I'm a
again.
big fan of infographics.
Yeah, I
Same.
also. We are some nerds, guys.
Yeah.
We are. That's why we got
But-
along.
I think that the biggest thing is like people just don't know that like Ames provides free counseling services,
Right.
and if their free counseling services are, you can't access them, like if they don't have appointment times or something,
Mhm.
they're partnered with North Range, and
Yes.
there's ways that you can get it covered by, like our student programs.
Right.
So you can get free counseling through the school.
Yes.
If you're struggling, you don't even have to pay for it, and you can, like, it's all included in our student fees, which is really cool. And I don't think enough people utilize.
for sure,
Yeah.
especially given kind of the crazy times we're living in right now.
Right.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people have had a rough semester. You can kind of tell from how empty the campus is at this point. And so
Well,
if you
it's
were
final. It's getting up to finals week, so
Yeah.
campus is
Right.
actually pretty full right now. It
last
hasn't been
week
this
was
full. Yeah.
pretty empty though.
Yeah.
So if you were interested in seeking out mental health resources, they've got them over there. I
10 to
know
1.
a lot of people could probably use it right now.
Yeah.
And it's like asking for help. It's a big good thing to do.
Yes.
Trust me.
Yeah. Trust
like,
us.
The first
Yeah.
first step is always the most difficult, which is just finding the resources and deciding to
Mhm.
utilize them.
While-
Ames has free ones, so like no harm done. It's
For sure.
If you make a 1 hour appointment, that's 1 hour of your day, and if you feel at the end like it was a waste of time, at least you tried, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah, normally, even though our disclosure at the opening of the show says, like, don't believe anything we say, no, actually, believe us on this.
Yeah.
We do have these free resources. Take advantage of them. One may work better than the rest, and that's okay. Each
Right.
person has a different, when it comes to that kind of, when it comes to mental health, there's no one size fits all approach. Sometimes you may have to try multiple things to find something that works.
And the more people that use the resources at Ames, the more that become available.
Yep.
If
Right.
enough people show interest in counseling, there's a chance of starting support groups. Like slowly but surely, you have to utilize the tools in order to get more. So at least try.
Oh, yeah.
It'll get more for, even if it's not just for you, it's for future students out on campus.
Yes.
Anyway, do you guys want to get back to music, or do we have something else to talk about right now?
We shall get back to the music, and then later on, I can't talk today. Wow. I thought the Celsius would have kicked in by now, but clearly it hasn't. But coming up next, later on the show, we will have, like, our new tradition. There will be a Spanish language segment here on the show, as well as an upcoming segment regarding the Beatles, and something that we thought was going to be buried in time forever, which is finally seeing the light of day for the first time in almost 50 years.
Okay.
But up next, we have the meme song to end all meme songs. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here with Dax and with Kion.
Hello.
Hello.
We are here,
We are here indeed.
and we're saying some words.
And we are saying some words and apparently looking up something about showers in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
Rory
Is that
sent me
his-
a picture of his. Hold on.
What?
What?
Of his shower.
Of, like, the
Of
hot
his
water
shower, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, no, just because you said Rory sent me a picture of his and then you stopped. So it was like,
Yeah, his hot water heater thing. That.
Okay.
oh.
Yeah. It's like it's for energy conservation stuff.
Okay.
Have you guys seen like the newer Karate Kid?
No?
No?
Not in a long time.
Okay. I forget that my brother and I both have autism and like relentlessly just watch the same movies over and over. That was one of them, was the newer Karate Kid.
Okay.
Okay.
But like the kid gets confused by the shower in the very beginning of that movie, and I'm now realizing that anybody who hasn't seen that movie 400 times would have no idea. Anyway, moving on. Josh, what were you going to talk about?
So, wow. Well, that was a low little segue.
I think you broke him.
No.
I'm broken.
No,
No,
but
broken.
so slight little programming update. Instead of doing the Spanish language segment, we'll do that a little bit later on in the show. It is still coming forward. Wow.
We'll do it later.
We'll do it later. Thank you. But now I just did want to go ahead and talk about the. We actually got the trailer kind of shadow dropped on us last night. I was literally watching YouTube on my phone, and all of a sudden it popped up because I am subscribed to the Beatles YouTube channel. So it was a pleasant surprise. So here we go. This is an article from the New York Times of all places. In 2021, the director Peter Jackson's sprawling and vibrant Beatles docuseries, The Beatles Get Back, streamed on Disney Plus to nearly universal acclaim. The three-part epic, which ran nearly 8 hours, captured the drama and frenzy as John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr recorded over the pressure-filled month of January 1969 what would become the last album that the Beatles released, Let It Be. As fans were well aware, Jackson's series was culled from nearly 60 hours of behind-the-scenes footage, originally shot by the director Michael Lindsay Hogg for Let It Be, his little-seen, though often dismissed 1970 documentary about those recording sessions. After its initial theatrical run, Lindsay Hogg's film largely disappeared for more than a half-century with the exception of low-quality VHS versions and bootlegs. Fans tend to remember it as an intriguing historical document capturing the late-stage creative flights of a seismic musical force, but also as a divorce proceeding of sorts with stark moments of internal discord as the band hurtled towards a nasty split. By that view, Get Back, with its abundant moments of jokey banter and on-set clowning, was seen by some as an overdue corrective to Let It Be, which I will say I actually own the Blu-ray set of Get Back.
Yeah.
And they really do hammer in like a lot of the jokiness. Like there were just a lot of moments of them just horsing around. As compared to Let It Be, which was a little bit more kind of focused on their creative process and kind of like everything that was falling apart.
Yeah. I haven't seen all of that, but I remember when that came to Disney
It is
Plus.
very, very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first, because they split it into 3 parts. The first part's like almost 3 hours. The second part's like over 3 hours. And then the last part is a little over 2.5 hours, but it has the full final rooftop concert performance, like start to finish, which was really cool.
Kion is saying that it's a little bit long. Kion, how many times have you watched the Charlie Slimesicle VR Skyrim video, which is just over an hour?
This week, I've watched it 3 times.
Okay, so Kion has no excuse for not having enough time to watch these things. He just doesn't. He's not good at prioritizing new media, which I'm not either. I'm not dissing you for that at all.
Yeah.
I'm just making a statement.
Me.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen the Slimesicle video that we're talking about 12 times at least.
Yeah.
All right. So continuing on with the article, Philip Lindsay Hogg has fought for a half-century for Let It Be to actually get a second look and in his mind a fair shake. One thing that the article does not mention, but several members of the Beatles themselves, primarily Paul McCartney for the most part, were the ones who kept like vetoing that there was ever like an actual re-release or anything of it, because to be fair, it doesn't really paint them in the most like happy-go-lucky light. Like this was a band that was falling apart.
Like,
so
all of that filming was done in a very stressful environment for them, and it was when they were actively like having arguments and like the band was very literally falling apart as they were filming. So
yeah, literally throughout the it's not in Let It Be, but in Get Back there is actually a portion where George actually leaves the band and they have to convince him to come back. So there's a lot of that isn't in Let It Be. But here we go. On May 8th, Phil Lindsay Hogg will get his wish when Let It Be, meticulously restored by Peter Jackson's production team, begins streaming on Disney Plus in collaboration with Apple Corps, the company that oversees the Beatles' creative and business interests. So for the first time in nearly 50 years, the film has actually been restored, like meticulously. If there's one thing I do give Peter Jackson's crew is that the restoration work that they put in for Get Back and more than likely for Let It Be is nearly impeccable. Like they spend, I don't even want to know how much money they spent to like actually restore it, and it looks like they shot it yesterday almost.
Right. Like I remember when I watched a little bit of that, the first one.
Yeah.
Which was the first one that was on Disney?
It was Get Back.
Get Back.
Yeah, Let It Be isn't there yet.
Okay. So I watched a good chunk of Get Back with my grandpa, who is a big Beatles fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, like, this looks modern.
Yeah,
like,
they restored the life out of it.
Right. Like, there is very little distortion, if
Mm-hmm.
any.
If any.
And, like, it's full spectrum color.
Yeah,
it
is.
looks very
it literally
good.
looks like you just filmed it yesterday.
Yeah. Honestly, that's part of why I was so interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge Beatles fan. I was just kind of like interested in it as like a historical thing.
Yeah.
Because it's a rare opportunity to see like that kind of footage being given that modern of a look. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like it's very rare to see a band that's so well known seen in a new light, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Because, like, a lot of it, and the thing is, too, with Let It Be and with a lot of Beatles documentaries, especially ones that were really produced by the band themselves, they do kind of maintain a more clean image a little bit. But in Get Back, like, they're swearing up and down.
Oh, yeah.
They are... Like, you look at them and you're like, these are not the same people you see, performing on TV. It's like, no, these are, like, they're quite complex individuals.
And
all
they're
four of them.
actually people.
Yeah,
they're
it's a peek
actually
behind the
people.
curtain, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate thing about some of that, like the idolizing. I think that the big thing with like quote unquote cancel culture now, or whatever you want to call it, is like we see the real side of people. Celebrities are going to have struggles. That's why a lot of it, I'm like, don't live your entire life online. Because with that, we didn't see a lot of that behind the scenes. There wasn't a lot of look into what's actually happening. If nobody came forward and had real evidence, and even then, a lot of the times before any of that stuff would go to court or anything like that, they would settle behind the scenes so that the public image wasn't ruined. But now it's so hard because anybody can get on with a small following and be able to,
Oh yeah.
show somebody's dark side or something like that. I think that it's weird to see the real side of like old celebrities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's part of why it was so interesting to get such a fly on the wall perspective of the Beatles. Because, they're bickering and it's tense at times, but there is still jokes,
Oh yeah.
Like you can still see a little bit of that old camaraderie.
All the old
there,
camaraderie with them.
And
because you could tell that, like, even though they all had their differences, they all wanted to do something, which ends up culminating in the rooftop performance, which was the final performance that they ever did. And actually part of the main thing, especially in Get Back, is they all had different ideas for what the performance should be. Because at first they were thinking, oh, what if we do it in Egypt? Oh, what if we do it on a cruise liner? Like, they had so many different ideas and none of them could agree on one until they finally said, you know what, we're just going to go up on the roof and just perform.
Yeah. I think the thing that I liked the most about watching the Get Back was just it like you said, a lot of the other Beatles like documentaries and stuff about them is almost overproduced in a way. It's very, how to say, curated to show you their best side, you know? And I feel like having a more neutral take that I think I'm going to rephrase it a little bit. There was very little like narration for the whole thing. There wasn't any voice telling you this is how this happened and that is a bad thing.
All the dialogue is pretty much them
it's
or
just,
like their road managers or whoever was around.
Right. It's just you watching what happened. And so it's not like someone telling you what you should think about the Beatles or a curation of what they were like. It's just observation and you drawing your own conclusions. I think that's what I really, really liked about it. So
for sure. Like and I'm gonna be honest, I was one of the blokes who was actually trying to look for one of the VHS tapes because I've always wanted to see Let It Be. Like I had heard of it, and it's this kind of mythic thing where it's like, if you could track down, even if it was potentially a bootleg, don't buy bootlegs, kids, but if there was some way to actually see it, like even if it was really grainy or whatever, like I just wanted to see it.
Right.
But now the fact that they are going so far as to like restore the whole thing and actually put it out there is really fascinating, especially knowing that several of the members for the longest time didn't want it released. So it just kind of makes you think, it's like, what changed? And there's been a lot of Beatles kind of resurgence over the last few years, because we had the release of Get Back, we had the release of the song Now and Then, which was is basically the final Beatles song, where they actually took a demo of John Lennon singing, but they couldn't use it originally in the 90s when they tried to restore it because they couldn't separate like the rest of the noise from his singing. They didn't have the technology to do it, but now they did, and they took they had Paul and Ringo record new material for it, like new drum tracks, new guitar tracks, and they used stuff that George Harrison had recorded in the 90s when they tried to release it originally, and put it all together. So we got technically the final Beatles song.
Yeah.
And then now we're getting the release of Let It Be. So right now we're kind of in this kind of like Beatles resurgence. And it's kind of tricky to see like what's going to happen to the rest, because there are other films that the Beatles did make.
Yeah.
And it's like, are those going to go on to streaming? Like they have a really good partnership with Disney Plus. And also it's like, are they going to, it's like, first of all, how much is Disney paying to get this? Because anything
That's
Beatles is beyond expensive.
Right. Because I really think Get Back was a very cool thing to do. It was a very fly on the wall. If you're like a deep Beatles fan, like a very diehard Beatles fan, people loved it because it's 8 hours of Beatles. And I feel like that's a little different than doing like all of these new releases and the new movie. And I get the new movie a little bit, but it's also kind of like, are they just trying to continue the brand, to continue trying to profit at this point? You know what I mean?
I mean, if there's one thing that they were and still are, like as business people, like they know, like there's a reason that after over 50 years since they last publicly performed, they can do remixes of albums, like editing them or re-releasing them in higher quality, or merch, like just how much Beatles merch is still out there that you can go and buy.
Vinyl re-releases,
Dolby Atmos remixes of a lot of Beatles songs, which I honestly I'm looking into shelling out for a pair of headphones that can actually do the Dolby Atmos. Because there's a lot of Beatles stuff is getting re-released in Dolby Atmos. Like they're remixing it actually with, being supervised by at least Paul and Ringo, because they're the two that are still around.
Right.
And they're doing all of these things, which honestly like is really cool. And actually at BEA in Vegas, they actually had a listening session for songs like this big time, I forgot his name, but this big time producer has worked with multiple different artists, and he actually took us through some of the work that he's done in Dolby Atmos, where they've actually taken like artists and actually worked with them from the beginning to be like, hey, what does this sound like in Atmos? And they would play us samples of songs, and it would sound utterly insane. And even old songs too, they would have, obviously that artist teams or their estates teams kind of work on the supervision, but they did an Atmos remix of Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. And I've heard that song so many times.
Yeah.
I've never heard it like that. There were little bits in the instrumentation and just the way that they got the spatial audio going, that there were little quirks to that song I've never heard before. And I've heard that song way too much.
To kind of piggyback off of that, while it's a little bit, in my opinion, scummy to try to keep the like remasters and all of that, and just to keep the brand and money going to that band, at the same time, I kind of respect it, just because they're not being entirely like, oh, let's just, put a new bow on it and send it back off. They're still being technologically innovative.
Yeah, and that was a huge part of what the Beatles were at the time. Like, they were the forefront of.
They've always been. A lot of people, especially my age now, might not think of the Beatles like this, but they've always been a very like trying the newest thing.
Oh yeah.
They've always been very much
recording multi-track.
Right.
Was like they really.
They were like one of the first
to take full advantage of.
Yeah, they were really one of the first that saw a recording studio as a musical instrument and being like, how can we take this space and turn it into something just bombastic, which, good Lord, they know how to do.
Later on, they were also one of the first bands to really utilize video as well.
Oh yeah.
Like once things like MTV got big, they knew how to use it and well.
Yeah, and they had all the promotional videos and everything, which you can still find. I actually have the so there's the one CD which has like all of their number one hits, but then years later they released, it's called One Plus, which was the CD and the Blu-ray. And the Blu-ray comes with a 5.1 surround sound mix of that album, but it also comes with all of the music videos for every single song, like meticulously restored and everything. And holy smokes, like I can see why they got burned out maybe as fast as they did, because they lasted less than a decade, because they were literally just go. Like there's like 30 videos on that disc.
But I think what is so interesting about the Beatles, as someone who doesn't honestly enjoy their music that much, is just how you can honestly use them to kind of see what the newest greatest thing is for like the last half century. Because when they first started being a big band, you can really see like how their music changes with all of the new innovations.
Yeah.
You can see what conflicts are going on by what subjects they're addressing. And the fact that like now the newest release, and what might be technically the last real Beatles release, is still technologically innovative.
Yeah.
It still has like, I don't know if it's actually technically AI, but it's like restorative.
So
like,
so nothing was created by AI. All that the AI did for Now and Then is it just basically took John Lennon's vocals and cleaned them up from, like, basically separated the
it just separated it from
the hissing sound in the original tape, because I've actually, on YouTube, you can actually find the original tape. They basically figured out a way to use the AI to strip the hiss away from his voice, and you could actually hear his voice, because that was the thing that prevented them from releasing it in the 90s, was the technology at that time it wasn't good enough to properly separate the voice. And that technology that they used was the same thing that they used actually in the Get Back documentary, because there's a lot of like rough demos of songs that they did, but they weren't, at that time they weren't really recorded good because they were demos. But then you hear them now, like when you watch Get Back, like when they're rehearsing and stuff, and it's like, whoa, they really, like you can hear what they were trying to do.
And the fact that like the last, you could say, Beatles song is still innovative, that's just very impressive. They've been around for how long? Half of the band is now no longer here, and they're still like one of like a majorly innovative band. That's impressive.
Oh yeah. So. I'm not kidding. When they announced that the song was getting released, every little bit of behind the scenes of how they put the song together, I watched. I literally had the countdown on my Spotify for when the song went live.
Nice.
Same thing with the music video. And the music video is kind of frightening because it has shots of Paul and Ringo as they are right now.
Yeah.
George Harrison died in 2001, but he was still a little bit older, so they had some footage of him.
Right.
But then the footage that they took of John Lennon is kind of frightening, because you realize, like, this guy's frozen in time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he got to a certain age and that's it. Like, he only lived to 40 before he was killed. So it's very jarring almost that you're like, wow, these guys are in other words, singing about their fallen bandmates, and then
Right.
just the imagery in the video, like it's the way that they framed Now and Then. They said it's the last Beatles song, and it's kind of an epilogue basically to everything that they've done. And what they did, which I thought was really cool, for the actual vinyl single release, they did like a remixed version of Love Me Do, which was their
Yeah.
first the first song they ever released, as the A side. And then the B side was Now and Then, so it's literally
Nice.
the beginning and the end. And I was like, holy.
Yeah. I think this, for some reason, this is reminding me of the Freddie Mercury quote of, like, you can cover my songs, just don't make it boring.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people that do Beatles covers or just a lot of music nowadays really don't have the same kind of je ne sais quoi, you
Yeah.
know? And there's something there. I think there's really something to be said about how they just have a certain sound that just cannot.
Oh, yeah, no, you can't replicate it.
Yeah. But
But that also
Yeah.
could be why they're so popular even now, just because they have a sound that, like, people can try, but
Yeah.
no one's gonna be able to, like, truly replicate that.
yeah.
Like,
And,
heck, even AI can't do it. All the
Right.
AI did was just took the, John Lennon's
it just isolated his
vocals.
voice, so it made him sound
Yeah,
better.
literally,
yeah.
it's like, AI can't replicate
Right.
what they did.
The reason I thought about it though was just because, and I honestly, Josh, stop breaking your ankle.
That was my knee.
Oh, stop breaking your knee then. I saw a clip of Jojo Siwa trying to sing one of the Queen songs. And it was like, you broke Freddie's rule, Jojo. You made his song boring.
I was gonna say JoJo. That's a whole.
But
We
that's
can,
a nice story.
we can talk about JoJo in our next segment.
There
Why
we
don't we let
go.
them get back to the music and
We
we'll
should
come
let them
back
get
and
back
talk
to the
about
music.
JoJo.
We'll let it get back to the music, and we'll talk about JoJo. Up next, we got "Talking to Myself" by Linkin Park. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, and for now, the second week, we will go ahead and do just a brief Spanish language segment here for our Spanish listeners. Just a quick little radio update here for you all. Muchísimas gracias por estar con nosotros hoy esta tarde en el Dumpster Fire 4.1, parte del radio de estudiante de Ames. Mi nombre es Yashua y les voy a dar un chequeo rápido de su clima mientras que gozan este día muy bonito aquí en el estado de Colorado. Corrientemente en Fort Lupton es 68 grados con un alto de 70, un bajo de 43, soleado con gustos de aire a 4 millas por hora. En Loveland ahorita está a 66 grados con un alto de 69 a 43 grados. Ahí está cielos soleados con aire a 16 millas por hora. En Windsor corrientemente está a 70 grados con un alto de 70, un bajo de 42. Está soleado el cielo con costos de aire a 5 millas por hora. Y en Greeley estamos a 69 grados con un alto de 70, un bajo de 43. Cielos asoleados y gustos de aire hasta 16 millas por hora. Entonces tengan mucho cuidado cuando salgan. Aunque se ve muy bonito el cielo afuera, hay mucho aire ahorita. Entonces tengan mucho cuidado, tomen las precauciones. Muchísimas gracias por escucharnos hoy esta tarde y ya vamos de regreso a la música. Próximamente sigue Shine por Collective Soul. Disfruten. And
I have made Josh afraid.
Welcome back to the Dumpster Fire.
4.1.
part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh here with Dax and with Kion.
Hello. There are no threats of violence against Josh
No.
at this moment.
No, that didn't happen.
No, that
No.
didn't happen.
And Josh is clearly not afraid for his life.
Right.
Yeah.
Seeing
No,
as
not at
his
all.
voice just totally
Definitely
not
didn't
crack.
crack.
Not at all.
Right. That didn't happen.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Before, earlier in their show, we had a segment about the Beatles.
Yes.
And in that, I mentioned how the artist Freddie Mercury, lead of Queen,
Yes.
at one point said that people can cover his songs, but only if they are not boring.
Yeah.
And my not so hot take of the week is that Jojo Siwa's cover of Bohemian Rhapsody broke his rule because she made it boring.
Okay, I have a lot to say about Jojo Siwa. First of
I thought it
all,
was Jojo Siwa.
it's
I don't know
Siwa.
how to say it.
It's
Is it-
Siwa.
It's Siwa?
It's Siwa.
Okay.
Jojo Siwa.
Okay. Siwa.
Yeah.
You guys clearly don't spend as much time on my side of the internet.
No.
So I've known about Jojo
your
Siwa
side of
since
the
Dance
internet's
Moms.
slightly terrifying.
Yeah, I knew about her, but I never really, how to say, cared. She wasn't really my side of the internet, so
My side of the internet has been clowning on Jojo Siwa since she was on Dance Moms.
Oh,
AKA
no.
a child. Jojo is about my age. She's only
she
a
is
couple months
about our
older than me.
age, Yeah.
So I think she's almost exactly Kion's age.
Yeah.
She's 20 years old.
Yep.
Maybe she's 21. She's somewhere in there though.
Yeah.
We have technology, guys.
Yeah, she's like our age though, in her 20s,
Yeah.
early 20s.
And like the thing that I want to state about her current musical endeavors.
Oh, only 20.
Yeah.
Is that like I don't fully want to bash anyone wanting to try doing a musical career. That's not what this is. What I want to say is just her pretending that she is some like undiscovered really good musician when like that's not the case.
So here's what I have to say about JoJo. When she was on Dance Moms, she was never the best dancer. In fact, Abby would frequently clown on her for not being a good dancer, which, seeing recent things that have come out, she really isn't that great of a dancer, right? She's not a bad dancer by any means, but it's not like she's some like
prodigy.
She's no prodigy. She's no like looking at other people who've come from Dance Moms, like she's no Maddie Ziegler, she's no oh gosh, what are the other girls' names? I can't even remember.
I was gonna say Maddie Ziegler was a queen.
Yeah, Maddie Ziegler, like she's really good. There are like a bunch of them that came out of the show that are really, really good, and it's not like there's any really bad dancers that came out of the show.
Yeah.
It's just like she is just average for that
Right.
style of dance. And she is like she's not some undiscovered talent that nobody knows about. Like she has a following of specifically young girls who really look up to her because she's this big bright personality. And I think that her, first of all, the Kiss makeup and the Karma video.
Yeah, I was gonna say
she's gonna get
She's going to get sued. Like 100%, she's going to get sued by him.
Jean is from Kiss is well known for suing people who try to copy his likeness or music.
Yeah.
She's gonna get sued for that makeup.
I'm kind
and
of
the
surprised
Karma
it hasn't
video.
happened already.
Oh yeah.
Especially knowing Gene Simmons.
They might be settling privately.
Yeah.
Like that's very, very possible.
Yeah.
Another thing is that music video was fully stolen.
Yeah. And she presented it as if it was her own song. It's not.
Britney Smith, is that her name?
Yeah.
Britney Smith. Yeah.
Essentially the story there is that Britney Smith was going to release the song back in, I believe, 2015.
2012, I think.
2012.
It was, like a while ago.
But then decided not to go through with it. And so the music publisher still had the rights to it, even though it was never, put on air.
Yeah.
And so JoJo decided she wanted to use this song when it was given to her, not knowing that it was originally Britney's song. And there was like a whole music lyric video done by Britney for it that never got released.
So
either.
basically, Britney Smith came out and was like, this is really messed up because JoJo made claims that she wrote her own song.
Yeah.
She went through the creative process of writing this song. And
that's not what
happened.
Oh,
it was a pre-written song for her, which is fine. She's a performer. She's not a songwriter. That's fine. If that's what she does, if that's her process, right? If she was like, she can still claim it as her own song as long as she's not claiming that she was the one who wrote it.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of artists who just
I was gonna say
songs,
that like other people write the songs, but they just perform them.
Right.
And it's fine to just be a performer, but she is trying to make this claim that she's an artist. The other thing she's trying to say that she's inventing this generation's gay pop.
Which, first of all, no.
Yeah, no, I was gonna
By
say
any
that.
on
means.
Girl in Red, like
Yeah.
let's see some of the other
Little
people.
Nas
Conan
X
Gray.
is the
Yep.
big one that I wanted to talk about because she also made the claim that no one else made this dramatic of a switch. No. First of all, Little Nas X is a very well-known gay artist.
Right.
Like his song of like That's What I Want, one of the biggest songs to have come out like ever. Two, when his like transition from the artist who did
Like from Old Town Road
Yeah.
to Call Me
Yeah.
by Your Name, like that is
yeah, that is a very
that is a
dramatic
flip.
switch. And you're really going to tell me that her music is more, how to say, like popular to queer folk and more dramatic of a change than his? I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
And
no.
to say that it is honestly like it honestly feels very scummy to say like,
Yeah.
oh, look
Yeah.
at me, this is such of a dramatic of a change when it's completely ignoring other artists.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely like she's trying to invent gay pop, and there are these people that have been. It's almost like she is also trying to silence the other queer people who have
Right.
been
Yeah.
creating music for decades.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very clearly known. Freddie Mercury, we were talking
Yeah.
about earlier.
Yeah.
Like that is like if
Elton John.
Elton
Elton
John,
John.
right? Like these people were significant queer
Yeah.
people
David Bowie.
David
in the
Bowie.
past
Yeah.
Yeah.
that created this incredible art. And
Yeah. I mean, even if we want to talk about music by artists who weren't queer, there's
Yeah.
still a lot of music out there that queer people identify with. And so to say
Yeah.
that
Like,
she's inventing
actually,
a genre.
good example of that,
Go ahead.
Cher.
Yeah, Cher.
Like,
That's a great
holy
one.
smokes, in the community, she is an icon.
Yeah,
or Sweater Weather
true.
by The Neighborhood.
Yeah, that
True.
too.
Not necessarily a queer song, but it's seen as like the bisexual anthem. Like
Right.
that's I think that people like it's very tone deaf what she's
Yeah.
doing. It reminds me, I see a picture of her where she looks like Ellen down in that right corner
Oh,
down there,
Yeah.
and I feel like that is so very true.
Yeah.
The comparison, like, she is not some icon of our generation. She is the Ellen of our generation.
Yeah.
Like, you are trying to pretend like you are some new hot thing when
Yeah.
like it's fine, be a performer, be an icon. She is a good icon for young girls because
yeah.
of the confidence and bubbliness that she does have. I
Yeah.
think that she's actually a fairly appropriate good representation, and when she came out as queer,
That's
Yeah.
a big deal.
yeah, that's a big deal, and she is a very, very good role model, I would
Right.
say, for a lot of those young girls. Of all of the people for them to look at, she is not somebody promoting, bad body image
Right.
issues
Yeah.
or anything
There's a
like
lot
that.
of good things to
Right.
say about her.
Yeah.
But I feel like the problem is she isn't realizing that she needs to be a lot more considerate of her image.
I feel like she's lost. I feel like one thing that was so good about her, especially like between the Dance Moms era to right before this, was she was so genuine.
Yeah.
She genuinely is that happy and that bubbly of a person.
Yeah.
And that's like she was so genuine, and now she's coming out with this where she's trying to be some hardcore person that does not fit in with
Right.
who we know her
Yeah.
as, and that's fine. I think that there are a lot of people who can come forward and become something, like they grow and turn into something
yeah.
different, but it's like she's still being the same person she was. There's just like this facade of hardcore over it, and I
Right.
think
Yeah.
it's far more
It feels so much
unauthentic.
more
Yeah.
like disingenuous
Yeah.
to say that you're this, rock heavy, karma,
Yeah.
I'm like in your face badass kind of personality.
Yeah.
But then still be very, how to say child friendly.
Yeah.
yeah.
Trying to keep both, but
Yeah, trying to
not
keep,
really
like, both.
going for either full sail makes both feel less like genuine. And so it's very like, my takeaway from this whole situation is just if she wanted to pursue music
Yeah.
and she wanted to write her own songs or just perform songs, if she was just honest about
Yeah.
whether or not she wrote it I think would make the whole situation so much better, you know?
Oh, for
I
sure.
have no problem with her starting a music career that's
Oh, yeah.
appropriate for a 20-year-old. I mean, that song is not something that I'm like, oh, a 20-year-old can't perform that because there are children watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But the costuming, the way that she's presenting herself,
Mhm.
like I feel like if she just came out with that song, nobody would have had a problem
Oh
with
yeah,
it.
no, people.
Yeah.
would have
It's
been
not
like, oh, okay.
it's not a great song, and people would have still clowned on her for it. But the big thing is just like the dramatic personality change
Yeah.
she is trying to portray when that's
Yeah.
not the case.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And
Yeah, no,
that's
it
my
definitely
2
feels
cents.
more like she's like playing a role, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, more so than it ever has felt in the past with her big bow and her
Yeah.
hair pulled back into that side ponytail. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly wonder if she's trying to do this to get away from that image, but doesn't
Well, it
fully
is-
want to because she knows that a lot of her audience
Yeah.
knows her because of that.
Well, I
you
mean,
know?
how do I say this? Artists, especially, like child stars that go on to still have careers afterwards, like there is that history of some of them willing to try to undergo like a complete shift to break
Right.
away from that audience. I mean, Miley Cyrus.
Oh yeah.
There
Right,
you go.
yeah.
You go from like her Hannah Montana stuff to like bangers
Or, like,
Holy
Wrecking
moly,
Ball.
that
which
is-
I feel like
That was a
that's what
switch.
JoJo was trying to do.
Yeah.
yeah,
In the sense that the Hannah Montana era of Miley Cyrus was not authentic,
yeah,
Right.
and her current era is far more authentic, and it's showing like she had a full public breakdown,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
and JoJo isn't that personality, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I think that she's allowed to also be making things that are appropriate for a 20-year-old to make.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing is she wants to say that she's a new person, and she wants to say that she's breaking away from that personality, but at the same time she doesn't want to lose the fans
Yeah.
that she got because of that personality.
Yeah.
And so trying to have both is not working for her.
Yeah, it is kind of tricky because you will how do I say this? When it feels that, inauthentic, then, it how do I say this? It does kind of create that sort of conflict. Like you can venture into different types of music or different artistry
Yeah.
and still be yourself. Like I'll give an example, and I'm going to use my one reference
'Kay.
right now. Look at Taylor during the Reputation era. That was her villain era. That was her being like, oh, people want to see me like this. Well, if the shoe fits. But at the end of the day, you watch the music videos, you see the tour, it's still Taylor.
Yeah.
She was just
That's actually a pretty good
yeah. It was, definitely a bit angrier Taylor, a little more, a little
kinda
more
feel very
defiant
similar
Taylor, but
about
it was
this.
still Taylor.
Because Karma is not that heavy of a song. It's a
not.
very generic pop song.
Yeah.
But then she has this like Kiss-esque metal makeup on,
Yeah.
and she's like, "This is such a dramatic change," but it's like a very generic pop song, you know.
Yeah.
So it
Right,
feels
it
very
feels like a song
similar.
that JoJo would perform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think everything fits but the costuming
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
attitude she has towards it.
Yeah.
I think that she could have a fairly successful, generic music career
Yeah.
just by doing that. She doesn't have an awful voice. She's
No.
not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and she's not, like I said, she's not an awful dancer. When she's got those background dancers behind her, she is like, it looks good.
Right.
So I think if she just stuck to being, bright,
Yeah.
I don't know, her costume's like all rhinestoned and stuff still. It's not like
Yeah.
she's really that straying that far away.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just black and white now.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 cents on Jojo Siwa.
I think it has a lot to do with like other child actors though, like we were talking about earlier with
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus. A lot of them, I mean, if we look at Zendaya
Oh
from
yeah.
her Shake It Up era to
Challengers?
Challengers or Euphoria or anything like that. Like she has made that dramatic shift as well, because she was appealing to children before, and now she doesn't. But the other thing is, like,
Demi Lovato too.
Yeah, Demi Lovato. They have completely changed.
That's something else,
right?
But I also think that's because the fans around them grew up with them, right? And JoJo's fans have always been younger than her,
right?
JoJo's fans have always been younger, and so she's trying to make this dramatic switch without losing that fan, like that audience. But that audience are still children. They are still these 12-year-old girls.
Yeah, like with Zendaya, that's definitely a good example of that, because actually, like, if you see the trailer for Challengers, she's doing some adult things.
Right.
But also, there were interviews where people asked her, they're like, you know, why are you doing like what she does in Euphoria, like what she does in Challengers? And she was like, my fans have grown up with me. She's like, I'm not, you know, a 14-year-old anymore.
Right.
And honestly, a lot of the roles that she does, they're not very, how do I say this? They're not exploitative, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people went into Challengers thinking, oh, we're going to see all of Zendaya. When anybody that knows, she actually has a no nudity clause in all of her contracts. Like, there'll be stuff that gets close, but you're never going to actually see her. Like she said, like, that's not my thing. Like, but she wants to make these complex characters. Like Rue in Euphoria is a very complex character dealing with her own issues, her own struggles, and why she acts the way she does. Same thing with her character in Challengers. Her character in Challengers is somebody that knows she has this power over two people.
Yeah.
And she basically wants the best for both of them, but she knows kind of how to basically play with both of them in such a way. Like, it is a very, from the clips I've seen, it is a very complex role. Like, it's not like your traditional femme fatale. Like, it is a very sort of like, this girl's a mastermind and she knows what she's doing, but she's going about it in such a
she's not
way.
doing it and to explicitly manipulate them, so to say, or like for her own benefit, really.
Yeah, it's not really even so much for her own benefit rather than the benefit of the two people you see in the trailer.
Yeah.
And it's so, from the little bit I've seen, it's a crazy movie.
The other thing to talk about other child actors like that is a great example is Daniel Radcliffe, because in a lot of his stuff now, people still will call him
Harry
Potter, even though, and they'll be like, child actor from this is now doing an adult movie, and it's like, guys, he is what,
almost 40 now,
right? And he's still predominantly known as the kid who played Harry Potter,
which is so unfair,
right? And it's like he's done a number of fairly adult movies.
I think him and Rupert Grint kind of started doing more adult roles kind of at like around the same time, where they both kind of wanted to show that they could play more than just Harry and Ron.
Right.
It's not even that. It's not even that they wanted to show that. It's that they are actors and they were going into roles that were appropriate for them.
Right.
I mean, you can't continue to play like not everybody is going to be a Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, no.
You're not going to get that.
And like the thing about it for me was just it seemed less of I am proving that I can do other roles, and more of, at this point, I know that people are going to continue calling me that kid that played Harry Potter, but I don't care anymore. I'm just going to do the roles I want, you know?
Yeah. If you actually look, Robert Downey Jr. kind of ended up in the same boat where, like, because he's done a few movies since Endgame, but it wasn't actually until Oppenheimer that he had a role that was completely the opposite, and he kind of broke out of that shell, because in a lot of the other roles that he did, he still looked, he still
very
had the Tony
Stark.
look, so it's like, oh, he's just, like, you'd be like, oh, that's Tony, but then, like, you look at him in Oppenheimer, and granted, he had the makeup on and everything, but just the way he acts, it's like the complete opposite, and he's trying to kind of break free. But if you also see, he had a lot of other really good roles before Iron Man, and so
he has
he's kind of a
previous
chameleon.
experience
Like he was
too.
able to kind of finally shed like the thing of, oh, he's Iron Man. It's like he can do far more than just be Iron Man.
Yeah.
I know this is another like more obscure one, but sometimes those actors get stuck in those roles, like Rainn Wilson.
Oh my
Everybody
gosh.
only sees him as
He's
Dwight
just
from
Dwight.
The Office.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
gotcha.
is
Yeah.
a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
Like, so incredible. He can completely transform himself. You
Yeah.
watch him as Dwight, and then you see a video of him as a person, and he is
Oh, yeah, he's like
so different from the character.
Yeah.
And, like, he can play a whole range of things, but everybody can only see him as Dwight. He
Yeah.
can't be taken seriously as an actor because of his role as Dwight.
John Krasinski
John
has
Krasinski
kind of
is
fallen
kind
in
of
the
in the same boat.
Yeah, like
He-
he's done these other roles. He did Jack Ryan. He
Yeah.
did A Quiet
remember
Place.
Jack Ryan.
But a
Yeah.
lot of people are like, oh, it's Jim.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Jim from The Office,
Yeah.
and so you can't take it seriously because you're looking at him and you're
Yeah.
thinking of him making that face at the camera that he always makes
Yeah,
when
the
he's
Jim- the
pranking
Jim
Dwight,
smirk.
and like it's just so interesting how people can get like stuck in that.
Yeah.
Like that's all we can see
Yeah,
them as
like
because we become
with-
invested in these
I
characters.
will say with Jack Ryan, at least, they did kind of change it up because the first season he's clean shaven.
Yeah.
So
So he looks
a lot like Jim, but then later on, as the show in other seasons, he starts growing a beard and everything, so it kind of helps him
Jack
shed
Ryan
that.
actually
look.
was a really good way of doing it because, like
Yeah.
you say, having his character slowly look different
Yeah.
makes it so then that way slowly you
Yeah.
start associating this person as not just the actor,
Yeah.
but just the character. And I feel like that's a very good way to do it. And it's exactly what JoJo did wrong.
Yeah.
She, out the gate, she was like, this is going to be metal and hardcore. And then it was like so very not. And, you know, so.
I can totally see JoJo getting into like Riot Girl music, right?
Like later down the
Like, so
line.
I can totally see JoJo performing like some straight up Riot Girl
yeah.
music
Yeah.
and like having that crazy. She's got the voice, she's got
Yeah.
like the dancing and the craziness. And
I agree.
feel like she wants to move towards that. I feel like that's probably something that she enjoys. JoJo,
But she
hon,
needs
you
to
gotta-
just
yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
She can't try to do songs like Karma, which
Right.
is
Yeah.
a very pop song, and pretend it's that Riot Girl music. She
Yeah.
needs to just make songs like Paramore, make like baby metal songs. Do you
Yeah.
know what that is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
just like and honestly just cover songs.
Yeah.
At this
Yeah.
point just cover songs. Just start getting out there into that, because if we hear them and we hear that they're good, then she's going to attract the audience. She's
Right.
going
Yeah.
to attract like I wouldn't be opposed to listening to JoJo as like a Riot Girl artist. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like I completely dislike her as a human being.
Right.
Yeah, like actually Miley Cyrus actually kind of did that when she did, what was it, the Backyard Sessions, where she did a lot of covers. And over
Oh,
the years,
yeah.
like even during COVID, she did covers, but it was different genres of music. Like she did her own cover of Jolene.
Right.
She did Zombie by the Cranberries. She did
Right.
Heart of Glass by Blondie. But, you know, she put her own kind of, like, she did really good doing all of those songs, and it doesn't feel like out of place.
It's also a very good way to start getting audience feedback
Yeah.
on doing a different kind of music without immediately being like, I'm inventing a new thing
Yeah.
Yeah.
before you kind of jump the gun, you know?
Yeah, like with Miley, it really worked well because she wasn't trying to reinvent anything. She's just like, hey,
Right.
this is my cover of Jolene. This
Right.
is my cover of Zombie. This is my cover of Heart of Glass. And it's like she wasn't trying to reinvent anything. She just showed, hey, she can do this, because especially after her throat surgery and
Yeah.
everything, like she got kind of that raspier voice that actually works really well for songs like Zombie and Heart of Glass.
Yeah.
And it just worked, like for her, it worked really well. She's like, hey, because of this, I can, you know, put my own kind of spin on these songs, but it doesn't feel like it's out of place. It's like, oh, yeah, she can do this.
There's also something to say about doing a cover or, you know, a song in an overused genre, but putting your own spin on it, like you
Yeah.
say. You can do a cover of a song and do something different with it and have it be your own take on it.
Yeah.
But you can't go and pretend that you're reinventing the song. And that's what I feel like JoJo is currently doing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I think that if she just stuck to, you know, like either completely changed and is like, I'm doing Riot Girl music now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or just go with being a pop artist.
Yeah.
She has to go with either or, is what I
Yeah.
feel like.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like if she just stuck to one or the other, she would be fine.
yeah.
Anyway, we should let them get back to the music because we've been talking for a really long time now, like
We
over
probably
20
are-
minutes.
Should
Yeah.
close off here soon,
Yeah.
too. So, yeah.
Yeah, or it looks like that about does it here for our show today. We do thank you all so much for listening. Next week is the end of the semester, so it'll be the finale of the Dumpster Fire 4.1. However, the show is going to continue over the summer, so that
Yes.
will be the Dumpster Fire 4.2 before coming back in the fall with the Dumpster Fire 5.0. Oh my
5.0
gosh,
with
there's
just
5
Josh.
incarnations of this.
5.0 with just Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, or who knows? We'll see who else I can bribe to get in here.
Yeah.
There you go. It won't be me, though.
Maybe I'll get Rex. Maybe.
There
Yeah.
you go.
It won't be me either.
True. What am I gonna do?
I don't know. There's potential that I won't be able to be here next week either because of my work schedule.
Oh,
so
yeah.
True.
yeah.
But I'll
So
be
we'll
here.
see. We'll see how it goes. Kion will be here, and there will be much more chaos, much more dumpster fire. And we do thank you all so much for listening. And you folks have a great rest of your day. Up next on AIM Student Radio, we got Wherever I Go by One Republic. Enjoy.